All right, cool, Josh. So let's talk about the deal that you did inside the Go Bigger program. Like, tell me about the property high level and the state of the property when you got it under contract.
It was an old sauerkraut factory,
Hmm.
132,000 square feet. Almost every roof in the building was leaking, and it
Okay.
was essentially completely vacant except for 4,000 square feet.
Hmm. Okay, so except 4,000 square feet. So what was the gross rents that was coming in to the property when you first got under contract?
Well, they were occupying, but they weren't paying.
Okay, so zero.
Yeah, zero. But now they're all good. They're in there paying. So
Okay, great. So then, kind of walk me through forward like to today. What are so you brought this from like $0 gross rents when you got into contract to not like now, what are the gross rents looking at right now?
the gross rents right now are just under 21,000 a month.
Okay, so
And and it's about 90,000 square feet occupied.
okay, so from basically zero economic occupancy up to 91,000, you said?
Yes, around there.
Okay, okay. And also you're hopefully negotiating, fingers crossed, God willing, a additional lease. Not sure if anything has changed on that since we talked
Nah,
last night.
same thing. That'll be around 7,000 square feet with some outside space too. So
Okay, okay. So from zero to $252,000 in gross rents. You've had some seasoning in this property so far. So, what would you say the operating expenses are on this property on an annual basis?
that is excluding my debt.
Excluding your debt. Yeah.
I will tell you the exact number right now. It
Perfect.
is, I mean, they're so cheap. It's 5,475 dollars
54.75 a month.
a month. The reason it's so low is my taxes here are incredibly low.
Okay. So we got about like, let's say conservatively speaking, like 70,000 a year in like operating expenses on the property.
Yes.
Okay. So we got
And
yeah, go ahead.
that that does go up every time I add a 10 and it goes up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. There's like a certain amount of variable expense and that sort of thing. I mean, the background on this is that this is essentially you're kind of like in the first, I'd say the first phase or season of this property. This was kind of a property that when Josh first looked at it, it's like this is a multi-year redevelopment play, or I wouldn't say redevelopment, but a repositioning play. So you get like phase one is basically get the thing leased up, and then you have the next like several years to optimize it and bring it up to like its highest and best use. So that being said, so about $182,000 in net operating income annually.
Yes, and then of course my damper is my mortgages, so
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you take 182,000, what would you say in terms of like conservatively like a cap rate would be on that, a capitalization rate on the income?
I think around a 9%, but that's what I've been trying to figure out with the banks. But 9 to 10 should be in that somewhere in that realm.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. And when we go through the appraisal process together, I'll be there every step of the way in terms of if you really want to get a juice in the valuation. Well, let's run the numbers right now actually. So we got 182,000. I think 9% cap rate is definitely very conservative. It's industrial product, which is still in pretty high demand. So divide that by 0.09. So you got a $2 million valuation of this property that you've been able to create. What's your total like total money into this property, including what you borrowed? I know that you sold some properties to kind of accelerate the renovation through this property and stuff like that.
It's 1.15.
Okay, so 1.15
And
million.
by the time I refinance, it'll be 1.2, but
Okay, okay. So would you ever have like imagined that you could create $872,000 in like value?
No,
in
it's it's been a great experience.
Yeah, and I think that as you optimize this property over the next couple of years, that you're going to be able to, add another few $100,000 in value in this property, and also additional cash flow too. So, um, no, that's awesome, man. So yeah, I think that for appraisal type, if you're looking for, I mean, you have enough equity there that you probably don't have to go through the stuff that we talk about in terms of like getting like a national appraiser on there that might give you like a 7.5% cap rate, unless you want to like pull a boatload of cash out of the property. So I don't know, what are you kind of like leaning towards right now?
I'm gonna keep a lot of equity in,
Okay.
but I'll pull out. I'm looking to pull out probably 300,000. Um, I'll keep 100,000 just for reserves for that property because it is older.
Hmm.
And the other 200,000 I'm stashing because my life goal is to buy a dream house. Not a dream house, a beach house. And
Okay.
so I'll take 200,000 here, 100,000 from a couple other ones, and then just buy one outright.
Okay. So beach house. I mean, I'm praying here. Is it going to be like Lake Ontario or the Finger Lakes,
Yeah,
or is it going to be on the island?
it'll be Fire Island.
Damn it.
Wait, you'll have a pass whenever.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, thanks for going over that. And guys, if for those of you that are tuning into this case study, if you want to get like the full sort of breakdown in terms of like how Josh found the deal, put together the capital stack and all that sort of thing, I have a link at the end of this video to an episode of Go Big Live where Josh was a guest on that can walk through that whole thing. But this is kind of a case study, high level, because it's been a while since we got an update on the property. So that's awesome, man. That is a freaking home run. And I guess what role did I play in helping you like through this opportunity after you found it?
The well, you as a whole, I would say it started before this opportunity was more of a confidence booster. Just saying, when you walk through it and they just being like, oh, like you could do this. And I was like,
Mhm.
all right, yeah, maybe I can do this. And then also raising money because before this, I would raise maybe 100 grand. And, so far I've raised 1.1 or, close to it. And
Mhm.
I never, I never thought about raising via promissory notes until you. And now that's really all I do.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that we get stuck in our head in terms of like a lot of the content that's out there that's like if you're raising capital, you're giving up equity, or if you're raising capital, like you have to, pay, first position mortgage and all this other stuff. And the thing is that when you first start out with raising money, like you're not raising money from people you don't know. Like you're not at that state yet. You're raising money from like friends and family and close like professional contacts. And a lot of people get it twisted in thinking that, oh, well, I have to do a syndication, give up equity and that sort of thing. And the thing is that you're going to be, if you do that and you do these like complicated things, by the way, I've never done a syndication before. It makes my freaking head hurt just thinking about it. But if you do first syndication, you're going to be raising it from like 95% friends and family anyways. So why not raise promissory notes from friends and family and close professional contacts and keep some, if not, I mean, most, if not all, of the equity in the property. And you've kept all the equity in this property, or do you have to give up
Uh,
some?
I have, I have all of it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So basically, this experience added like 80,000, I mean, $800,000 to your net worth and counting. Just through this one deal, and you've done many deals subsequent to that. After that, you've been kind of like tell us about that. You've been sort of like repositioning your portfolio from residential to like industrial commercial.
Yeah, that's any of my, like less desirable single family houses that I've had. I've been selling them
Hmm.
and just trying to stabilize the stuff that I will keep. And now only buying industrial and I only buy value add. And if I could pump anywhere from 50 to $100,000 in equity a month, that's been if I can't pump that much equity, I'm not doing it.
Hmm. No, absolutely. So let's back up a little bit. What was your state in terms of like what you're going through, like I guess before you made the decision to invest in the Go Bigger program?
I mean, I was pretty desperate because I just kept buying single families. I couldn't snap myself out of it. Like so many people not paying. Now it's better, but at that time, genuinely, I was probably like 3, 4 months away from being bankrupt.
Wow.
So it it definitely helped. It definitely helped to just change my whole mindset.
So that was the state that you were in, like, I don't know, I guess I mean, let me play devil's advocate for a little bit here. I mean, why didn't you just like, I don't know, uh, Josh is a very resourceful person, one of the most resourceful people I know. Like, why not? Like, why didn't you do like YouTube University, books and that sort of thing? Like, why did you feel like you needed like one-on-one, like direct, like intensive, like help for this transition?
You kind of just said it. I needed one-on-one. I'm a little stubborn by nature. And also you when you go on YouTube or the internet, you don't get the full picture. These people
Mhm.
only tell you about their success stories. And especially because you were localized, it made so much more sense.
So, because because I was local and and you knew me and that sort of thing. I mean, I did, I do have the ability to like walk properties with my clients as long as they're like in a 2 hour drive radius. So, if there was somebody that was considering joining our program that, like, let's say was outside this area, I mean, how do you think, like, do you think that the success that you've been able to create with kind of me walking in lockstep with you through this process would be duplicatable if I was in like basically in a different state than a client, for instance.
Yeah, definitely because the only time we walked anything was one time.
Hmm.
Um, and all the other knowledge comes from Zoom and your teaching. So I mean, I think without a doubt.
So do you think that there could be, like, based upon what you've gone through, especially on the commercial side of things, is there anything that, like, for instance, like somebody could have just bought off the shelf, or you could have bought off the shelf to help you through this? Is there anything that's like sort of like black and white and formulaic as it is? Like, because I've always, before I launched this program, I was trying to think of ways of like, all right, I can, sell a program that's basically just like a video course, that sort of thing, that doesn't require any of my time, that somebody can just take, and then they have everything they need to do that. And then I learned, I was like, I don't know, man. Like, there's so many nuances and gray areas with commercial real estate that I would be like either not helping somebody like deliver the value that they need in transitioning from residential to commercial, or they'd feel like they got what they needed, but then they'd end up like driving off a cliff and, like, and killing themselves like financially in the process. So, like, kind of talk to me about that because that's always something that I've like wrestled with. And I don't know, I'm rambling, but tell me.
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing is I can't call a computer program and ask them a question. I could call you, and most of the things you need to know right away. If I'm negotiating, I can't like refer back to a. I mean, I guess I could, but I can't refer back to a video
Hmm.
and comment on things that I need to call you.
Hmm.
So being able to call you is really everything. And like you said, there's no deal is the same in commercial. If it's a single family house, you could duplicate that over and over again, but nothing in commercial is the same.
Absolutely. So, most recent, one of the most recent deals, for instance, was it was a smaller than the
Mhm.
old Sauerkraut Factory, but I don't know, a question like, where should I put a grade level door on this property? There's not really an instruction manual for that. There's like nuances to it. Like, I had to, like, in our mastermind calls, we like go on to like Google Maps and basically be like, okay, let's look at the orientation around this property. What would be most, advantageous to to a potential tenant to make the space attractive and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's now, Josh, you've graduated out of this program back, several months ago, but you still remain active in our mastermind, which is, so I dovetailed one-on-one 1 year intensive mentorship with people looking to graduate from residential to commercial, and then dovetail that with a lifetime mastermind with our group. Like, why do you still remain active in the mastermind after, you've accomplished so much? I've always been curious about that.
Yeah, I actually thought about this the other day. I like that little jolt of being around all the guys, but also you can get so stressed out day to day that you just sometimes you need to rein it all in. And on Wednesday nights, it helps me control the thoughts sometimes.
No, I understand, man. So, um, let me ask you
And
that. Go
I have
ahead.
one thing to add on that. One of the other guys in the mastermind just brought me a deal 2 days ago that we're working on right now. So that's another reason to stay a part of it.
Yeah, no, I hear about that as well. I mean, it was kind of like an unexpected surprise for me. I thought it was going to be like sort of this, 1 year intensive mentorship program, and then I would work with them. If they didn't accomplish it a year, I'd work with them until they did beyond that. But I had somebody reach out to me that graduated our program and was like, hey, do you mind if I still tune into the Wednesday night mastermind calls? Of like I don't know why you want to, but sure, why not? And so that's like when I sort of like I was like, hey, let's get this community, because real estate investors are kind of like freaks, but we're in our group kind of like super freaks because there's like
And,
nobody's doing what we're doing. Um, so I guess it took a lot of faith for you to, invest in a program with me. Um, So faith is something that's like, it requires a leap, right? So um you were taking a risk. So when did like that sort of like faith turn into sort of a crystal, like the moment that it crystallized into, yeah, this is totally worth it.
um, it was actually something so stupid, and I've never used it, but you gave a little, I don't know if you call it like a knowledge nugget, but of instead of asking for money off the purchase price, you ask for a credit back so you
Hmm.
could get money at closing. And I was like, wow, if I implemented that, I could save I could have money to renovate things or whatever it was.
Hmm.
And there was a few things throughout the course where I was like, wow, if he just would have taught me that one thing, it was worth it.
Hmm.
So, like, the county fusion, learning how to get people information that own LLCs, that's such a I would have never learned that if I didn't learn it from you.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember, I think it was like a month and a half or something like that into, after you onboard in the program, you called me up and you're like, all right, like Matt, you're working for free for me already. So, all right, so I guess this is probably my last question. Who is this program not for?
Who is it not for? I would say probably the really beginner. The person that needs to buy, a couple houses first and then jump into commercial. At least in my opinion. Because my head would have been spinning if I had no knowledge of real estate.
So is it because like, is it because I mean, there's a reason why I probably only extend a invite to, 20% of the people that I get on discovery or strategy calls with, for that very reason, is because I don't want to set somebody up for failure. And I'd done coaching and education before for beginners, and the reason why I stopped doing it is because I kept like having to resell them on the idea as to why real estate was a good idea. I wanted somebody that already had like the kind of like the fundamental mechanical knowledge of it, that sort of thing. So, uh, who else is it not for? Is it just, is it for anybody that's got real estate experience, or tell me about that?
I'm not sure. I mean, you definitely need to have a growth mindset because you still need to be the one that wants to go bigger. You can't go bigger for us.
Mhm.
Um, that's who I would say.
Okay. And then last question, what is the like I guess what is the biggest most fun and this is a everybody gives me a different answer on this when I do these interviews here. But what is the biggest like value you've gotten out of our partnership together in this program?
The biggest value is being better at raising money. Mostly, I built the relationships. I just didn't know. There were some people I didn't know how to ask,
Hmm.
and just hearing how you do it, that's been the biggest value. Because I mean, I love raising money, and getting better at that has made the world win a difference. Because now I'm not afraid to go after bigger deals because I know I can raise the money.
Excellent, man. Hey, thank you very much for your time. And thank you guys for tuning into this case study. And yeah, Josh will catch you in the green room right after this.
Yeah.
Take care.